Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Islands of Coherence open house. We're so excited that you took time out of your day to join us for this. And I'm going to ask Kaylin to bring on some of our other cohorts, Kati J, Kelly Lynn. Here's Penny Hipple. We have Alexi Vaz, Shiloh Boss. And we have Darty, I think, who's putting your camera on. There we go. This is the IOC cohort. We've been working together for about 9 months to really kind of relaunch the Islands of Coherence. And it really takes a community to actually host a growing and budding community. And this is a group that's been doing that. And we're excited to have you join us today so that we can share with you about the kind of relaunch of the Islands of Coherence and some of the member offerings that we have. And we have, as part of that launch, a retreat, a 3-month retreat that we are going to be starting called Cultivating Coherence in Community. And so we want to share that with you today. And we brought some guests in like Roland McCraty and Jude Currivan and Julie Krull and Gary Malkin and Tammy Stewart from Unify. So we brought on some fun friends. So we're going to have a lovely time together. It'll be 90 minutes. And we'll stay on afterwards. The cohort will stay on to answer any questions that you might have if you're interested in joining us for the retreat. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to invite our cohort to share a little bit about what is the Islands of Coherence and who are we as a community. And take a deep breath and feel the bottom of our feet. It was Earth Day yesterday. God, what a glorious day. So many beautiful offerings, the monks chanting all around the world. People are really showing up to bring greater coherence and love into this planet and into our future. And I know many of you are on some of those. So thank you. Thank you for that. So here we go. So the Islands of Coherence Network, we really see this as a safe harbor in a sea of chaos. And the IOC is actually a sister organization of the Global Coherence Pulse. And many of you are regular pulsers. I saw a lot of the same names all around the world. And the Islands of Coherence was created to provide a space, a purpose-driven, heart-centered social environment to support a member community made up of communities of practice, islands of coherence, to come together and support each other in the great work that's ahead of us as we ride through this very unprecedented time. And so I'm going to invite our cohort to share some thoughts about who we are as a community. And you guys can make sure your mics are unmuted for this and just kind of take this in. It's good for us to claim, like, who are we as we begin to come together? And then we can find where we resonate, where we feel a connection. So here we go.
We are a visionary culture, one that acts like imaginal cells within the planetary body. We are cultivating coherence through presence, resonance, and collective emergence.
Together, we understand that we are embodiments of the living universe, uniquely informed, naturally interconnected, and part of a greater whole.
We envision ourselves navigating through the greatest transformation of our era, a massive shift happening on all scales. We see this happening now, and we know that we all have a special part to play.
We are a safe harbor in this sea of chaos.
We are made up of individual members, connected with each other through shared islands of practice that foster evolutionary skills and nurture our individual and collective coherence.
Cultivating love and wisdom at the evolutionary edge, highlighting emergent areas of consciousness, the new physics and science, wisdom traditions, art, culture, and nature.
We support each other on this great journey within, tending to our inner worlds, to connect and heal, and to find wisdom and action steps necessary to do our part in these extraordinary times.
We aim to be an ecosystem of epic individuals, projects, and solutions for the great shift of our species. Islands of coherence in a sea of chaos. And the Global Coherence Pulse and the Islands of Coherence Network have been very inspired and guided by this particular quote. When a complex system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift the entire system to a higher order. And we believe, and we know our planetary system is far from equilibrium right now. And we are noticing that islands of coherence are naturally emerging in response to this. And we're coming together and we're learning what it takes to collaborate and synergize at the next level with our gifts and our efforts, and consciously evolve together for the good of the whole. And we feel and we believe and we're inviting that our collective coherence is needed right now. And we're committed to that as a community, as an organization, as a practice. And collaboration is key. It's an essential part of it. And today I'm really excited to announce, and I want to bring Julie Krull on camera, she's not, that the good of the whole and the islands of coherence are joining our communities and our good works and our intentions and our values so that we can be more effective in serving our communities and creating content and experiences. So I'm super excited, Julie, that we are going to continue to collaborate together and create islands of coherence for the good of the whole. Have fun. Julie, do you want to say something?
Oh, thank you, Teresa. I just delighted in joy bubbling up when you were speaking that, because it feels so good to, so many of us, different organizations have come together to work together, to share in events, and we come together in our times of need. And we're kind of like landing this to say, this is how we be as the new culture. It's not just events anymore. It's not just this week of the year that we come together or this special event, but we're really grounding this new way of being on the planet and creating, like evolution biologist Elizabeth Sahtouris says, cooperative communities that care for all of life. And so it's happening. We're doing it. And there are so many more right there in the fringes that are with us that will be weaving in, and many of them are right here on the call with us today. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's true. It's not just good of the whole and islands of coherence. It's Unify, who's actually the 501c sponsor for the Global Coherence Pulse and such an important partner to all of the organizations. And HeartMath, I mean, islands of coherence without HeartMath, we'd be missing the science and years of practice. The Global Coherence Pulse, Whole World View with Jude and the evolutionary leaders and World Unity Week, and so many other organizations are all coming together, and they're all islands of coherence in service to the whole. And together we're starting to realize that we're a rich solar system of activities and communities and resources, And we're being called, all of us, to deepen our collaborations and synergize our efforts. And the islands of coherence and this retreat are kind of offered up as prototyping spaces. Like, we need to use the systems and the opportunities we have to play, to see what's working, to learn what we need. I say to Julie all the time, we need to build to learn, not build to last at this moment. So we need to take these opportunities to do that. And in heart-centered coherence, we are capable of so much more than we are alone. And we're really starting to see that. And the Cultivating Coherence in Community Retreat is an opportunity for us to play with one of the systems that many people are starting to use. A lot of networks are coming together, member networks. And so we'll use this opportunity to learn and engage together. And so our intention for this open house is obviously to invite you to participate in this prototype, in this Cultivating Community Retreat. And we hope that whether you join this retreat or not, that you're inspired to make uplifting the quality of your presence, the frequency of your awareness, and the currency of your contributions on the planet a priority in your life. And that you surround yourself with others that are doing the same. Because what we feed the field matters, and we need each other right now, and we need to put this purpose first. So to start us off, we're going to have Khadijah just do a little heart lock-in, and then we'll move into inviting some of our guests that are coming. And I'm really excited for us to share this new phase of the IOC and this fun experimenting playground that we've created together for you. And Khadijah, I want to invite you to go ahead and just take us into a little heart lock-in.
Absolutely. So I just want to welcome everyone into this space and invite us all to just take a moment to step inside. So just gently closing your eyes and letting your awareness drift into your internal world, bringing your focus directly onto your sacred heart, right in the center of your beautiful chest. Gently letting your breath deepen and soften so that it's just a little slower than the way in which you normally breathe. Feeling the gentle beating of your heart, feeling the presence of divine love that emanates from within your heart. Breathing just a little slower, breathing just a little deeper. Letting your focus of attention and awareness be firmly rooted in this moment as you breathe. With each breath, feeling your body relax and your mind slow down. With each breath, feeling more connected with your sacred heart. And with each breath, allowing yourself to dissolve into the collective experience. Feeling the expansion of your heart as you breathe. feeling your body uplifted with this energy of love as you breathe. And now, as you gently begin to bring your awareness back to the room or physical space in which you reside, let yourself stay connected with this presence with your heart. Stay connected to the love that emanates from within you, and stay connected with the love of the collective field. When you're ready, you may open your eyes and rejoin this space here with all of us today.
Thank you, Connie J. So good. We start every meeting, we start everything with just simply dropping in to our hearts and feeling the bottom of our feet and really being present together. And it makes such a difference. So I'm going to invite some of our guests to come on. I hope that gave you a little feel of the islands of coherence and kind of like who we are and what we're calling forward. And we'll continue to unfold that through the event today. But I want to start by bringing on my friend Roland McCready from HeartMath. Let's see, Caleb, maybe you can spotlight Roland's video. I kind of want to start with Roland. He is the director of research for HeartMath Institute, many of you know, and he's also one of the founding partners of the Global Coherence Pulse. And Roland, I thought I would just put you on the spot and say, why should we cultivate coherence in community? Like, what is that going to do for us from your perspective?
Well, gee, Teresa, you are putting me on the spot there.
I am putting you on the spot.
That's all right. Well, God, there's so many ways we can answer that. But I think what I'm being drawn to say right in this moment is that our brains and hearts, especially hearts, are wired for connection, for community. And, just from, being the scientist, I always got to bring some science in. And that's really being quite confirmed. And some of you may not be aware of it, but a new theory called social baseline theory, which is doing some really neat experiments that tie in with our work that really demonstrate that. And I talk a lot about baselines, and the shift in consciousness, and that what we're really aiming to do is raise our consciousness baseline, not just when we have inspirations or come together, but it's really how we face the world, so to speak, how we navigate the world. Are we really able to shift our baseline to where it's one of more love, kindness, compassion, connections with others, heart connections. And social baseline theory extends some of the baseline work at the individual level we've been doing for years. And it says basically we have social baselines, and this is what our brains are wired how to operate. And I won't go into a lot of depth here, but for example, when we are alone, or we even feel alone, we could be in a crowd of people and feel alone, our brains are using more energy. It's not the familiar, and that we perceive that as a stressor, and that's correlated with so many bad outcomes, let's say, in our health, our wellness, our happiness. So our brain really literally perceives social connections, high quality social connections, as energy, like glucose. I mean, you can actually measure similar things. And one of my favorite studies that some of you may have heard this before, but some may not, out of this line of work is when they have a person stand at a hill, and you have this little device that you put your hand in and you try and measure. You have to match your hand to the slope of the hill, right? And most people perceive the hill being steeper than it is. This is with the intent you're going to go climb the hill, right? Even though you don't really have to go do it. And then they put a backpack on the person, and you start adding weight, and guess what happens? Your perception of the steepness of the hill changes. right? And the more weight you put in, the steeper the hill you perceive, and it's almost a linear relationship. But the really neat part is when you put a friend next to them, standing next to them, their perception of the steepness of the hill goes down. And it's almost a linear relationship to the change in perception to how close the friendship is. The more you trust them and the more bonded you are with them. So this is I like this experiment because it really demonstrates how the quality of our relationships, our connections, and our community literally is modifying how we perceive the world, not just hills, right? Everything we do is going through this unconscious filter, this perception. And as I said, it could be in a crowd of people. It's the feeling of being alone or not connected with others has just as much power as actually being alone physically. So a lot of our work, as a lot of you probably know, is showing what connects us is literally love. But it's especially the kind of love that we ground, that we take into the world. Are we more kind? Do we have more latitude, compassionate latitude for others in our day-to-day interactions with others and with ourselves? And we are in an age, I believe, where we are going through a rapid evolution in consciousness. It's really a tipping point that's happening as we increase our vibration. And if that's happening, something should be different, right, than the same thing. So we're seeing our consciousness, our awareness elevate. And sometimes the mind doesn't like that. It's very used to being in control. So the mind finally having to integrate the intelligence of the heart. And it's kicks and screams, kind of a fun way of saying it that our founder, Dr. Childrey, once said is it doesn't want to lose customers, right? It's used to being in charge for thousands of years. So we have to do some work when it really gets down to it. And oftentimes, for a consciousness to elevate, we know that love connects us, and we can actually measure that now, which is really awesome, in terms of synchronization between people, even non-locally. But the mind likes to judge. It likes to blame. Even those of us that have been on the spiritual path for many years, well, there's still deeper levels to go if we really are honest. And I think look under the radar, the histories, the biases we have, the good bads, the emotional undercurrents, the comparisons, and of course many more. But these are the things that we kind of have to roll up our sleeves. And as we really unfold the heart, the heart is really the power to finally bring the mind and emotions into alignment with our larger self. And so that's, I think, the work we really have to do to really build the next level of community and our conscious evolution. So hopefully that's probably not an answer. I had no idea what I was going to say, but thanks for the question, Teresa.
I love putting you on the spot, Roland. And I'll just say one of our islands in the islands of Coherence is HeartMath, and they are providing so many great resources to support us in the cultivation of coherence in the heart of our lives and really pulling community together. So you'll see if you come into the islands of Coherence or you join the retreat that there'll be lots of resources from HeartMath, because really you guys, I have to say, for all of the time that you've been doing this great work in the world, this is really your time. This is what HeartMath was really designed for, is this moment in time. So I just want us all to send Roland and all of the team at HeartMath so much love for what they've been doing and helping us to understand the power of the human heart and our collective love on the planet. So thank you, Roland. We love you.
I love you all too. Thank you.
Thanks, Roland. I'm going to bring in Jude, another friend of ours. Let's see, Kaylin will bring Jude in for me. Hi, Jude.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Teresa. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming on today. Boy, Jude, you have been on many pulses, and anytime I ask you to speak, you always say yes. And I feel like your voice, bringing in both the science of our unity and also our connection with Mother Gaia. And I wanted to hear from you, like, the importance of cultivating coherence in community right now? Like, what's happening right now that's actually calling us into that sacred work?
Thank you, Teresa. And as always, it's wonderful to be with everyone. And yeah, to sort of really receive the talking stick from my dear friend Rollin. Scientific breakthroughs literally are potentially the game changer at the moment, because what they're revealing is the emergence of a radical view of reality, which is of a conscious and evolving universe as an entirely interconnected and unified entity, a living and loving universe that meaningfully exists and evolves from simplicity to complexity and greater individuation and understood interdependence and interbeing. And that means that collaboration and relationships at all scales are the main drivers of that evolutionary arc from simplicity to complexity. Yeah, evolution isn't driven. We're finding now, the evidence is uncovering now that evolution is not driven by random mutations, but by cooperation and coherence. And our living and loving universe is one where mind and consciousness aren't something we have. They literally, and I think this is Julie's favorite quote, they're literally what we and the whole world are. And what's happening now, apart from this amazing convergence of leading edge science with universal wisdom teachings and indigenous wisdom teachings, it's enabling a new narrative based on unitive consciousness. And this story of a living, loving universe that exists to evolve, and where we are, it's microcosmic co-creators. And such a unitive narrative, literally, it's so hot off the press, my fingers are burning slightly, but we've now got a unitive narrative that's been crafted by some members of the Evolutionary Leaders Synergy Circle that originally came out of a synergy circle that recognized that the United Nations SDGs and Agenda 2030 were just incapable of happening, coming from a paradigm of material separation. So this new scientific evidence, this convergence into a whole world understanding of reality has enabled a unitive narrative. And to paraphrase that great narrator of human experience, Joseph Campbell, I'll read his words. The only narrative that's going to be worth thinking about in the immediate future is one that's talking about the planet and all beings on it. This new narrative will need to be grounded in widespread unitive consciousness, which includes a felt sense, an experienced sense, an embodied sense of unity with all life, unity with the ineffable source of all being, and unity with the evolutionary flow. So the new narrative, the unitive narrative that's now coming forward, I feel is at such a time that it underpins and frames all that we're doing together, all that we're sharing together now and going forward. And it really offers an emergent cosmological, planetary, interspiritual, and social framing for us to empower us, to invite us, to inspire us, to link up, lift up, level up, light up together in this great journey of remembering and this great journey into wholeness. So essentially what it's supporting is us as a collective, unitive, cooperative and coherent community of experiential and lived intention of love, and to serve our conscious evolution and also our remembering that we're all Gaians. So I'd like to just complete with another quote and to paraphrase a great visionary of 100 years ago, Teilhard de Chardin, who after the First World War realize that unless we came together in this way, we could not ultimately survive and thrive as a planetary species. So what he said was that someday we shall harness the energies of love. And then, for the second time in the history of the world, humanity will have discovered fire. And what our unitive narrative and what we're here together to share is showing us that someday is here and now. And as we wake up to the radical reality of a unitive narrative and our islands of coherence as experiential and embodied expressions of our conscious evolution, we'll also discover as a species, and for the first time, who we really and truly are and what we can evolve to become. Gaia's continuing emergence is embodied in collaborative and synergistic relationships and dynamic co-evolutionary partnerships, and now underpinned and framed by this unitive wholeness. The conscious evolution of humanity can be, as Gaians, can be an integral part of our planetary home's own evolutionary progress and purpose. So thank you, everyone. And I'm so delighted to be a companion and a fellow traveler on this journey home into wholeness.
Oh, I love you so much, Jude. Such an important role model and voice of our coming together. I loved yesterday on your talk with the ions, which we'll put in the Islands of Coherence, is that we're inseparable. We're learning that we're actually inseparable and that we belong to each other. And that waking up to that is so important. I think Jude might have frozen. I love that. Looks like we lost Jude. We'll see if she comes back. One thing I'll say about the unitive narrative, I don't know if I mentioned this to Jude or not, was that we're going to put that into the retreat. And there's an invitation for us to kind of claim that new narrative. And so it'll give us an opportunity to help reflect to Jude and to others that are working on that. Like really, how do we adopt that and how do we begin to apply that? So thank you, Jude. Sorry you dropped just there, but I'm going to bring Julie Krull on next. So let me add your spotlight. Julie's been working on the unitive new narrative. We find ourselves in so many meetings with all of these different organizations, and we're all saying the same thing. We're all saying it's time. Somebody in the chat said there's this urgency because we know that the moment that we came for is right now and how we show up for it. And I wanted to see from you just around cultivating coherence and community. And what do you think? What's really important about this right now?
Thank you, Teresa. I'm going to share a quote that I shared with you a couple weeks ago and you loved, but I just want to kind of frame this with Rollin and Jude holding up not just the science of unity and unitive consciousness, but the embodied direct experience. So here we have this mystical element of our unity and the science and knowing and understanding of it. And it's like an exciting time to really hold that as whole now. Like we don't have to prove it anymore. And we don't have to just be these advocates for the mystical when we're really showing the whole thing. It's exciting. So cultivating coherence in community is all about this unitive consciousness. And a couple of weeks ago, I shared with Teresa, I was driving on a day trip, and heard this podcast of a woman, a coach, and she said, and you'll get this in a second. She said, "Let's move from self-improvement to self-astonishment." And I shared this with Teresa, and she was about literally this capacity for audacity. She was coaching us to, get out of our own way and play big. But this piece about self-astonishment has been really working in my awareness for the last couple of weeks. And I just want to expand on that for us, because this is what this opportunity in front of us is all about. Self-improvement really came out of a consciousness of separation, that illusion of separation where I'm not whole, I'm not okay, there's something wrong with me, maybe I'm broken or whatever. And self-improvement then is to like get a little more improved, right? And now we're in this consciousness as we're living this unitive consciousness, as we're fully coming into that direct experience and then embodying, expressing, and engaging with unitive consciousness. We have the opportunity to come into self-astonishment, of really bringing our whole selves into coherence and then playing with others in community. Barbara Marx Hubbard used to call that co-creation, even, as that when I come into that awareness of my higher self and my essential self, and then come with others in that space, we begin to co-create. And so here we are, cultivating coherence, that we come into that coherent state and begin playing with others. The exciting part for this 90-day retreat really is this idea that we become these embodied expressions of unity. And so think about shifting that self-improvement to what would it look like if I showed up every day in coherence, practicing with others and building this field of coherence. Heart math has taught us this heart-mind coherence is that place where we expand our intuition, our creativity, our sense of knowing, our memory, our recall. There's so many beautiful things that happen. I call it the miracle zone. And I do believe that that is our opportunity to come in and really blow ourselves away. That's the language you were using, Teresa, when I was sharing self-astonishment. It's like, yeah, let's really, really do this. This is our opportunity now to really make an impact in our own lives, in our communities, in our families, in our communities, and like heart math and the global coherence pulse is teaching us, around the planet. Let's move into astonishment. So thanks for bringing us together to cultivate coherence as community and with community and for community, Teresa. We have right before us an amazing opportunity to really rock the planet and get busy and get our work done.
So, too, Julie, like we've been talking about, Julie's going to actually be coming on some of our fireside chats. She'll be with us in the retreat. She's inviting her good of the whole community to come and play together. And, we've talked about this is something we all need, right? Cultivating coherence is an individual journey that we all need to take, and it really will change every aspect of your life. But with everything that's going on in the world, if we don't have community that's actually doing that together, it's harder. But when we have each other, and we all need it right now, you and I, let's cultivate greater coherence in the heart of our lives and through us into the world, into our good works. And that's really the invitation. And I'm so excited that we get to play together, Julie, and really be learning what it means to be islands of coherence for the good of the whole. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just adore this entire community and all the cohorts and all the gifts that are going to be shared, and just that daily reminder to just realign to the design, just come into alignment, stay right there. It's going to be a beautiful journey.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Julie. So I thought that I would bring Theo Grace on and we would have like a little musical interlude because we always love that. Like cultivating coherence can be super enhanced when we bring in a little music, and just to kind of take in the words of Roland and Jude and Julie. We can just have a little time with you, Theo. So I'm going to spotlight your video. There we go.
Hi.
Theo was on our Global Coherence Pulse last Saturday, and he played a couple of songs that he's going to do again today. They were just so good and so much fun. And Theo's going to be joining us in the retreat in one of our musically enhanced integration sessions and bringing in his wisdom as well as his music. And we love you, Theo. And thank you so much for all you do to bring more love onto the planet.
Thanks, T. I love you too. And I love being here. I love doing this and just being together. It's a very special, kind of unique and very modern way of being together that we're all kind of like feeling into, like, how does this work? How do we do this online thing and be together and feel each other? And I think we're getting better at it, because I definitely feel everyone who spoke, and I feel more coherent, and just receiving the wisdom is so beautiful. And I was reminded, actually, when I was listening to everyone speak, of this beautiful Mary Oliver poem. And the beginning of it is, you've probably heard it. I've heard it like 100 times. I love it. It's, you do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And I just felt that in so much of what people were speaking, like the piece about self-improvement, and like the difference between trying to be better and get better at something, and then just doing what you love, and how that brings us into this state of coherence. And that's sort of my segue into this song that I'm going to share, because it was a very simple moment of me just driving in the car. And I was driving across this great, beautiful country, seeing parts of it that I'd never seen before, through the mountains of Utah and Colorado, and just appreciating the beauty and the majesty and the expansiveness of the sky and the land and the mountains. And I was just feeling, I was just having a really good day, and really just in the simplicity of loving my appreciation for nature, for being alive. And it was a lovely day. And this song came through, and it's called Lovely Day. So I can share it with you now. It's a lovely day, and I am on my way to love again. And every breath I take, I'm opening, oh yeah, to let it in, oh yeah. On the road, destination life, out the window, open sky. And I got so many reasons why I feel alright. It's a lovely day, and I am on my way to love again. And every breath I take, I'm opening, oh yeah, to let it in, oh yeah. Let it in, 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 let it in. I'm opening, oh yeah, to let it in. Up the mountain I will climb, family right by my side, and I got everything I need fly with my wings so wide. And it's a lovely day, and I am on my way to love again. And every breath I take, I'm opening, oh yeah, to let it in, oh yeah. And I'm never gonna know what's coming down that road, but I see flowers blooming everywhere I go. And I don't know where I'm headed, but the sun is on my skin, and I feel so good that I don't need to know. It's a lovely day, sing it. And I am on my way to love again. And every breath I take, I'm opening, oh yeah, to let it in, oh yeah. It's a lovely day, and I am on my way to love again. And every breath I take, I'm opening, oh yeah, to let it in, oh yeah. Yeah. Letting it in.
Letting it in. I tell you, since last week when you played that song, I've been humming it like every day. It's like so catchy. And I just find myself singing it and thinking about the two of you. And I know we're going to hear a new song that you mixed with Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put a link in the chat to our YouTube channel for the Global Coherence Pulse. And I made clips of Roland from last week, a beautiful meditation with the trees, and some of your songs. And so if we just need a little hit again, because somebody said, I'm so happy to hear your song again, Theo.
Yeah, I'm working on producing it with mine and Justin's vocals, and we're going to put that out sometime this year.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, T.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see Theo more in the retreat where, we're inviting lots of our friends and colleagues, and it's something we all need. We all need a sacred place to come together and just really put this purpose first. And we're so excited you and Amma and others will be joining us to help us, do that. So thanks, Theo, and we'll see you again.
Love you all.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, and I'm going to invite our cohort to help me out and share a little bit about, so what is this 3-month retreat that we're talking about? Boy, that sounds like a lot of time. And you'll find it's actually a really simple structure that you can bring into the heart of your daily life. And that's what we need, right? We don't need more time on screens. We need to be focusing the time we spend on Zoom and the time we spend consuming content on things that are really going to support us to open up to our best, to do self-astonishment, right? So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So cultivating coherence in community, a virtual retreat experience. And, as Theo said, we're starting to learn, especially during this time of COVID, that we can come together in virtual environments and begin to really feel the potency of our collective presence. And that's really happening. And that's what we're inviting here. So this is a personal retreat, but held in a safe harbor of a like-hearted community. And really, it is a time for us to shift our attention from what's going on out there to what's actually emerging inside of each of us, and let that emergence begin to guide our actions and our responses, our solutions, our contributions. And when we're held in a resonant community field, our capacity to do that is enhanced. And that's really the invitation. So imagine what would happen if you dedicated 3 months of your time and attention on cultivating greater coherence in the heart of your life and through you into the world. And do that alongside hundreds of other people who are doing the same. Like, that is the invitation here. So here's a little bit about the retreat flow. The retreat is designed to flow naturally into the heart of your life. It's very, very simple, but the potential is unlimited. And that's really up to you. You decide how deep you'll go or how high you'll rise into your fullness of your loving presence. And really, your authentic participation in the retreat is the gift that you'll contribute to the whole of the retreat. During the retreat, we're going to explore just 3 themes during that 3-month process. And we feel like these are relevant to living a coherent and generative life in these changing and unprecedented times. And those 3 themes are presence, resonance, and emergence. So the retreat is designed to help us uplift the quality of our presence and the frequency of our awareness and the currency of our contributions. Because all of these, as Roland would say, have a direct impact on the whole of life. And it's time that we give it our all. It's time that we up-level what we're feeding the field with the quality of our presence. And really, our health and our well-being, our relationships, everything is tied to these 3 things. So we're going to take a month for each of those essential themes, which gives us time to draw them more deeply into our awareness and our practices and our embodiment of coherence. I'm super excited about spending a month really focusing on the quality of my presence, really a month tuning in to my resonance with the earth and with life and with the shift that's occurring, and really allowing that deepening to give birth to what's really mine to do, what's really ours to do. And you don't need to leave home for this retreat. I mean, it's wonderful to go away to a retreat, and we often do it for reasons so that, you know, we can deepen our practices or we can connect with people. And this is an ability, now that we have this, is that we can meet on Zoom, we can meet in our private network space, which you'll see. We're going to meet in our hearts, and we're going to meet in the field. So we can bring this retreat right into the heart of our life and into our natural flow. And because it's a virtual retreat, we can make it beautiful. So we imagine that we have this beautiful temple that we gather in and lovely gardens for us to be in. And so we can do that in this virtual environment, is that we can make it beautiful together. So I'm going to have our cohorts help out and share a little bit about what the retreat has to offer. And every week we have some gatherings in our main hall in Shiloh. Maybe you can tell us something about what those gatherings are like.
Sure thing. That's right, Teresa. Every Monday is really when we come together as a community in the space that we're calling the main hall, where we gather to cultivate coherence in community. And that's really throughout the month where the core transmission of the retreat happens on Mondays. The first 2 weeks of the month in our General Assembly is really when we drop deep into the theme of the month. We explore the arc of our experience for the month. We highlight some of the key questions and contemplations and really set the table for our experience of the month. And then in the 3rd week, we come together with different evolutionary leaders, luminaries, and deepen in conversation in what we call the Fireside Chats. And that's where we take that monthly theme and hear from more people that will have some really great informative insights to highlight that theme even more. And then on the 4th Monday is when we come together and really dive in and integrate the journey of the month. These sessions are enhanced by great musicians like Theo coming in to integrate the experience, to let it come fully alive as we kind of tie it up with a bow. And again, those are Mondays, but the cool thing about a virtual retreat anchored into your daily life is that it's recorded. And if you can't make it on Monday, things are posted right away. They're made available for you, and you can grab them as soon as you're available.
Great. Thanks, Shiloh. In addition to having the weekly events, there's kind of simple things offered up in Khadijah. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in addition to our weekly main hall events, we're also going to be offering up questions for contemplation and practices that are centered around each of these monthly themes of presence, resonance, and emergence. And these contemplations and practices really are meant to be simple, allowing you to bring them into the heart of your daily life. And they'll be available for you earlier on in the week so that you can really bring these into everything that you're doing as you're moving through all of your obligations and responsibilities for the week, to really live in that space of presence, resonance, and emergence.
Thanks, Khadijah. We also are going to build together a beautiful resource library. So every week we'll be posting inspiring music, we'll be posting videos and articles, our cohorts, our guests, and you, anybody participating in the retreat, can add to our resource library. So, the invitation is to make this your home screen here in the retreat, and to use the time that you're spending on social media, on, consuming content with content that's related to these themes. And we also, as part of the launch of our new phase of the IOC, we have a bunch of new member offerings. And during the retreat, those member offerings are going to be aligned with the retreat themes. And these are optional. You don't have to do them. But if you're wanting to spend time in community and deepening your practice, these are available. And the first two I want to share about, and we can bring on Alexi and Khadijah, is that twice a week there's a meditation offering. And so, Alexi, maybe you can tell us about Imagine. I'm excited about that one.
Thanks, Teresa. My member offering is Imagine Meditations. And these are question-led creative journeys that help you envision, embody, and feel the reality you prefer. My questions will help you clarify your unique vision and to create an emotional blueprint in preparation for your experience.
Thank you, Alexi. And Khadijah, your heart-centered meditations, you could tell today when we had that little heart lock in Khadijah's capacity to take us so quickly with the sound of her voice and her authentic presence into some beautiful meditation spaces. So Khadijah.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, so every Friday I host a heart-centered meditation. And this is really an opportunity to drop into a moment of self-care and stillness by connecting with that divine love that emanates from within your sacred heart. And as we join together in the field, not only are our own body, minds, and spirits nourished, but we also get to ripple this nourishment out into the collective and truly help to shift the tides to a world fueled by love.
Beautiful, Khadijah. If you love coming to the Global Coherence Pulse meditations once a month, this is something very similar to that once a week. So if you're interested in just having community to meditate with their beautiful offerings. We also have two really new and exciting offerings that are more around community connection in breakout groups or in small dialogues. And so I'm going to have Kelly Lynn and Penny share about these. Kelly Lynn, why don't you tell us about Peace Pockets?
Yes, I'm so excited about all of these member offerings. And Peace Pockets is an experiential container that we will create together, where we'll practice listening to each other from a heart-centered, coherent state. And this will help set the conditions for us to experience our unconditional loving presence and the deep peace that resides always within us.
Mm. Thank you, Kelly. And Penny, campfires.
Yes, I'm so excited to be offering this sacred space called Campfires. This is a place to come if you're looking to connect more closely with others in the community. It's a perfect place to come. It's I like to imagine myself in these campfires. Like, imagine yourself sitting around a campfire with your friends and family, and what kinds of conversations and connections come up in that space. And that's the feeling of these campfire sessions. It's the format was inspired by Indigenous technology, and it's a place where we get to come and bring our most authentic selves and be deeply heard. And everyone is welcome, and all you need to do is bring yourself. So I can't wait to see you there.
Thanks, Penny. These are going to be so much fun. I'm so glad to have these offerings happening. And then we have, of course, in the body sessions. We can't miss that. Shiloh, maybe you can share a little bit about those.
This, my friends, in our in the body sessions, they offer an opportunity for us to anchor coherence into the body. So through various somatic explorations and embodiment practices, perhaps it's as simple as putting our awareness in the bottom of our feet, or perhaps something more in depth, we offer these weekly sessions on Thursdays. Actually, I think they're interspersed. They're mostly on Thursdays, but sometimes they skip throughout the time. And this is where myself and other members of our cohort, as well as special guests, come together to make these offerings and really help us anchor coherence in the body. So dropping out of the head and getting fully alive and in the body.
Thanks, Shiloh. I know I'm excited about these sessions. I have one that I'm imagining where instead of coming into Zoom with our videos, we just call in on our phones and we go outside together and go hang out with the trees and do some in the body practices out in the world. So we'll do some really fun things in these sessions. And then Darty, we have a new reality video library that Darty's going to curate for the retreat. Darty, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, since we're all moving into the new reality, I'm really excited to share some of the evolutionary practices and tools that I've experienced on my journey. And I think that these will all be in the resources library. And I'm looking forward to completing the themes of our presence and our resonance and our emergence. And hopefully they'll be inspirational or thought-provoking. And I'm really excited to share this with all of you. So I hope you'll come and join us in the retreat.
Thanks, Darty. So these are all optional. They're not necessary, but they're really an opportunity to connect in and really put this purpose first in our life. So we're going to encourage you to make this virtual retreat space your daily home screen during the retreat, and invite you to use the time that you spend online and on Zoom and in consuming media and learning and connecting to be guided by the themes and the flow of the retreat. And I promise you, like, if you come in and check in on this, you're going to find yourself going down all kinds of wonderful little journeys that will support you bringing greater coherence into the heart of your life. This is not designed to overwhelm. It's actually designed to help us go in more deeply and to really bring this alive in our life. And the nice thing about the Mighty Network platform, which is what we're using for this, and it's a great opportunity for us to experiment with, different tools. This one just happens to have wonderful profiles for our community, being able to engage with each other. It had the ability for us to create different islands for our partners. It has a wonderful mobile access for it, and it has a place for us to be able to create retreats like this. And so we're using it as an opportunity to play, and we really encourage you to check in often. And I promise you it will be beautiful all the time and inspiring. And of course, the retreat, not just virtual, but it is designed to come right into the heart of your life and for you to feel on a daily basis the energy of a collective field of others doing the same, which will really help us accelerate that. The cohort will be helping to host this retreat, and then we're inviting all kinds of fun friends. You can see so many of them here and more to join us over this time. So we're really going to be in this process together. And just one step, I would love to bring on Mr. Gary Malcolm. And I just want to say thank you to all of the cohorts. You know, having a community like this, it takes a lot to provide the community with what it needs in order to really be engaged and to feel supported and cared for. And this cohort has really, you know, over the last 9 months, we've been dropping into our own coherence, supporting each other in that, and then incubating these beautiful offerings that each of us felt like we needed to make. So I just want to say thank you to our whole team, and just know when you come into the Islands of Coherence or this retreat that you will feel so held and so connected by this group of loving friends. I wanted to bring on Gary Malkin right now, because Gary and I, we started the year, Gary, with Rest and Resonance, and we've been really tuning in. And I know that, Gary, you had an experience when we came together virtually that I wanted you to share about, because it's like, it's what's possible when we come together like this. There's something really, really possible for us. So love for you to share your heart, and thank you for coming on today. I love you.
Oh my God. I love hearing all the evolutionary development with the Islands of Coherence. And it's just fabulous to reframe a 3-month retreat as influences in our uplift process as an ongoing living experience. I love that. And it just frames it in such a beautiful way that it has to be integrated and embodied, and so the emergence can happen. So thank you for all the work you guys and your team have been doing. It's beautiful. Thank you. So I want to say, I'll share something about this. This started when the Global Coherence Pulse with Jude Currivan, where I was so moved by what happened a year ago that I was moved to tears in a way that didn't even care about what anybody thought. And I thought, I didn't know that could happen online. So that was the beginning. And then I had this experience with you in Rest and Resonance. And I had such a monumental revelation where, you know, we came up with this phrase where we listened to music together. And it gave life to the understanding that in physics, we're not spectators. We're affecting everything that we're seeing as in real time, right? So what happened during Rest and Resonance was I found a place for the music that I've created, hundreds of pieces of music over the last 40 years, to fit in the arc that Shelley and Jan had come up with for Days of Resonance. And as we listened, really assisted by your consciousness, Teresa, in guiding me that first day, and let me welcome people and let you introduce. And we found our way with, you know, how to do this. And we came up with this phrase, no molecule left behind. And it was, what it was this sense, and I've recently been corrected, like, we can't go molecules because people think them as physical 3D objects, and it's part of the field. So what is it? No photon left behind, no wave and particle left behind. I don't know. We've got to come up with this. But it's really excited me to come up with this explicit way that then evolved into this thing I did for Humanity Rising called the Listening Fire. And I love that you have these fireside experiences, right? Or circling the fire. So what I'm beginning to realize is, as we listen together, the very thing that Zoom created, which was being thrown into the deep end of the pool of no bioproximity, no electronic magnetic experience that HeartMath has proven over the last 30 years, is that we had to develop a resonance capacity, awareness of resonance. And what I noticed, because I've been very immature around energy and intuition over the years, but except when it pertains to music, but suddenly I recognized when we were together, and I wish I could see you and I on the screen right now, anyway, we'll do that in a minute, but it's like I started to perceive that my awareness of the communitas, of the communal experience of listening, enabled us to get right with ourselves and with our capacities to feel resonance with each other. That wasn't just language. It was literally a photonic melding an awareness field that was emerging into an awareness of the interdependence and interconnectedness, and the role that music, particularly generative music, when it was aligned with an intention and a purpose, which is what those days were, and which is what I did on the Listening Fire, and which is what I hope to do with World Unity Week. I never knew that when you stepped away and you allowed the listening to do its magic, the field allowed us to come into awareness of the resonance in every dimension possible: body, heart, mind, and soul. And so suddenly I become, largely because of that experience, I'm looking for a new term. Is it vibrational coherence? I mean, it's a way to just understand it, of course, because it's all coherence. Heart coherence means everything coherence, right? But is it epigenetic coherence? Is it photonic coherence? It doesn't really matter, but I want to say it because I want specifically us to have the revelation together that listening is way more than we think. Listening together is exponentially way more than we think. So when we listen to this piece of music I might play in a little bit, it's not a passive act. So what this means is when you do these events and these listening fires and these wonderful opportunities for chats and all these things, you're injecting these energetically powered pebbles in the field that allow the ripples to go out into people's bodies, hearts, souls, and minds in a way that actually empowers you into your emergence process, that gives you the space within the month, within the 2 months, within the 3 months, to let the listening, the field, the emergence actually land in your neuronal experience, in your neuronal behavioral pathways of experience. So a lot of words, I'm sorry, but when I'm asked to speak about this thing, yeah, you know that I gush about it because it's really fresh paint. It's really fresh news for me. And it's also personally, as you know, given me a place to stand where everything I thought I created over the last 35 years for egoic or financial or whatever purposes suddenly fit into a constellation of purpose that I never saw coming, And that's why I will be a passionate contributor, ally, and supporter of Islands of Coherence as this proceeds and as I have time to flesh out my community called Wisdom of the World. And I just can't think of a better way to do that with like-minded souls than this way.
Thank you, Gary. And I just want to acknowledge, I think in many ways we're creating this retreat for ourselves, right? Because we're all like those of us that we're awake and we're really working hard to let go of those parts that hold us back and really come into this place of consistent and sustained coherence in the face of what we're facing. And I really love your, just authentic expression of that occurring for you. And that's the invitation for the community. Like, let's come together and really share what it takes to become islands of coherence in this unprecedented moment. And the fact that we'll be able to do that together over this period of time makes my heart sing. And I know it's going to help us all. Yeah. So Gary, you were just going to offer us up maybe one of your little treats just so that we could have a moment of that listening together before we move into the last part of our session.
Well, yeah, thanks. When you said you wanted it to be a little bit more uplifting today in the spirit of that, I chose a track that you've heard before from Rest in Residence called Oh, Let Me Open. And it was from Jason Schulman. And the reason I love it, number one, is we are the capacity we have to amplify exponentially our experience when we sing to ourselves in the shower, in community, even if we're not hearing each other. So I love that aspect. And I also love the fact that we're all really good creators, but we're not good parents. And what I mean is around our creative works. So Jason and I toiled over this album He's a beautiful, non-dual, Kabbalistic Buddhist rabbi, has an organization called Society of Souls. And we spent so much time and energy building these songs for God. And then we didn't do very much to promote it. And so nobody knows about it. And then we did it 15 years ago. So I love that we can share. These are all songs to God that have been created for the purpose of doing exactly what the lyrics say. So I'm going to share this as a listening experience. It's meant to be embodied, it's meant to be sung, and listen to the words. I'm going to put the words in the chat once I get this going. And just want to say what a privilege it is to be invited to this, to be able to share. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
All right. Here we go. All right. And let yourself listen with every part of your body. Take your videos off to celebrate. Our gallery view.
I know you are there. I listen. Oh, let me open in my dreams. Oh, let me open in my pain. I know you are there. I know you are there. I listen. Deep in my midnight, I have prayed to you. In every way that I can, I speak to you in shouts and whispers. Oh, please, won't you show me your plan? Oh, let me open in my dreams. Oh, let me open in my pain. I know you are there. I know you are there. I listen. Oh, let me open in my dreams. Oh, let me open in my pain. I know you are there. I know you are there. I listen. Time to stop, no place to go. My heart is strong when I hear you sing. No more yesterdays, no more tomorrows. I want to learn to let things be. I want to know you in my dreams, know you in my pain. I want to call out your name again and again.
That's great, Gary.
Hey, thank you, you guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was so fun.
I'm telling you, listening together online will never be the same again after what we went through, Teresa. And I really hope that we can revisit that format some other day, some other time. But now I understand why I haven't been able to get your attention. Well, you've had more of a hard time getting me. But now that I see what you're creating, namaste to you, sister. Thank you.
Wow, yes, it takes a whole team, thank God, to do that. All right, thanks, Gary, and we're gonna, World Unity Week. If you're part of this retreat, we're gonna encourage you to participate in things that are going on, like let's come together for the Global Coherence Pulse. Let's come together for the Unify meditations. Let's come together and join in World Unity Week, like to bring our energy that we're cultivating into the offerings that are happening as part of the rich solar system of things that are available to us to play. So we'll do something for World Unity Week, Gary.
May I make one comment about tonight's concert because it's so important?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. So just 100% of the efforts, our proceeds are going to Ukrainian humanitarian relief. Rotary International, which is such a formidable service organization, 35,000 groups all over the world. And they are hosting this fundraiser and invited me to curate with Kim Rosen poetry performance and Amikela guest, an African-American vocalist who sings around the world to refugees. Tonight, I'll put the link in the chat, 6 o'clock to 7:30, but I'm so excited about it because my father's from the Ukraine. That's where hundreds of years of Jewish shtetls were before he was born. So this is very personal to me, and I just look forward to you all supporting it, whether you can come or not. I'll give you the link, and thank you for letting me share a word about it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. I think, Tammy, I'll go to you next before I share about the retreat investments. And I was so excited to have Tammy on from Unify and really appreciate so much our growing collaboration. And, you know, all the things that Unify is doing really represents a lot of what I'm talking about here is these opportunities for us to come together in community, to pulse the planet with our love, to learn together. And you guys have been doing so much of that. And I just really wanted to say, first of all, thank you to you and to Unify and to everyone, and to say how excited we are to enter into deeper collaborations where we can truly support each other's organizations and the communities we serve together. So Tammy, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much. I feel exactly the same. And we're so excited to be working with you all, and just very, very deeply grateful for the work that you're doing. The space that you're holding and allowing is just so vital, I believe, right now for what is about to unfold and what is unfolding on the planet. So thank you for having me with everyone here today. This is a beautiful, beautiful space. I get overwhelmed sometimes with wonder at how amazing the tapestry of beings are here on this planet and on this dimension, because I believe that we have a unique form of play to do in our creativity because of our experience of time, the way that we experience time. And I see all things as possible at all time, but yet, and however you want to say it, at the same time, we take all of that possibility, which is infinite and all around us, and we somehow connect with things, make conscious decisions or unconscious decisions or whatever. And the combination of all those things dials it into a very specific microsecond. And then that becomes the tapestry of our lives, which then intersect with other people's lives. And wow, it's just miraculous. It's just magic. So I love, seeing everyone here and hearing from everyone's backgrounds and knowing that there's more people, watching, a large collective tuned into this. It's really inspirational to my heart. I'm excited about the retreat coming up. I can't think of a person who wouldn't love it or wouldn't need it or wouldn't get wonderful things from it. And I believe you guys are really dialed into some foundational pieces of growth right now, no matter what industry anybody's in or how we all spend our times or what forms of families we have or what our backgrounds are. There are some really common factors right now that are emerging on the planet where people are yearning for these types of connectivity and growth. And it's because I believe it's because we're itching for this ascension. So I was asked to share just a couple of minutes of things that were on my heart. And the thing that showed up for me specifically when I was holding space around this time together today was about the word presence. And not just because I know that presence is a key part of what Global Coherence Pulse is about, but for me, I had a new year this year where I, for the first time in my whole life, picked a word, because I don't do that because I'm very resistant to niches. So I feel like if I pick a word for the year, like I'm too stuck. But this year it crossed over to the new year. And before I didn't even think of it, it was just a knowing immediately. I was like, this year, you're meant to embody expanse of presence and really stretch your understanding and belief of what that is, Tammy. Like, question everything and push up against the walls and move into it in a new way. And so when I was thinking about that, and what I wanted to share with you guys today, I was reminded of the first time I ever heard of the double slit theory, because I kind of tend to geek out on quantum physics, as I'm sure some of you do. And if anybody doesn't know what the double slit theory is, that's just fun. First of all, look it up because it's really cool. There are some cartoons floating around that explain it really concisely and easy to understand. But it's basically just you have bits of matter that behave differently, either as particles or as waves, if under a certain kind of observation. And when I very first learned about that, I took it to mean that observation makes a difference. And therefore, if we take that into our human condition, bearing witness to one another makes a difference. And now that might very well still be true, right? Probably is. And in my estimation, I think it is. But when I was thinking about presence, it really started to settle with me in a different way, where it wasn't just about bearing witness, but it was really this crossover, some kind of a emergence together of being with each other, being connected like that, because I'm not just me. I'm me with you, and us together creates this whole other makeup, this whole other dynamic that's actually exponentially more everything. It's more energy, more power, more potential, more possibilities, all of that. So I was thinking through that, learning through that, exploring how I could stretch the limits of what it means to be present beyond just the definition of, like, being there with your attention, right? That's how we're taught, like, be present, look me in the eye, like, but beyond that, what can it really mean? And I was challenged in myself to think about a couple things. One is the things that I let go before me. That you've heard phrases probably like, let love go before you, or let peace go before you. It's very formal sounding. Sounds like it came from our grandfathers, which it did. But what does it, like, really, really mean? And I was thinking through the practice of it. If I'm going to let love go before me, or if I'm going to let honor go before me, or integrity go before me, or peace go before me, what I'm really doing is pausing and letting all of me align to those things, calibrate to the energies and frequencies of those things, so that as I take my next step, as I take my next breath, as I say my next word, sing my next note, whatever it is, it's an embodiment of that. And that's what I'm putting out. And that's what I'm also receiving, because it's a two-way street, right? So for me, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I'm going to start like really intentionally saying out loud, I'm going to let honor go before me. I'm going to let love go before me. I'm going to let peace go before me. I'm going to let integrity go before me. All these things that I can align with, that I can touch, and that alone is a miracle, right? So I just wanted to offer that to you because that's been my own personal experience and journey recently in these past few months. And I do believe that we have the option and the power and the empowerment to opt out of distraction, to opt out of dissension. The condition on the planet right now is such that it's this continual perpetuation of polarization, and it kind of tends to keep triggering the human condition of the us versus them concept. We always have to have an enemy out there in order for us to be okay, and that's a lie. It's just a lie. The greatest optimization of all things in unity is going to be when we're at that frequency where it can't exist. There would be no such thing. So I would just challenge you to embrace opting out of that, opting out of the polarization, the distraction, and let yourself align to the greatest things that exist by letting them go before you. I believe it will change the world.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Tammy. That's like the contemplation of presence, right? Like really bringing that alive in your life, which you've been doing for months now, really begins to fruit something so deep. I love that. Let's put love and honor and peace and everything go before us. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited about this particular retreat as a way to prototype some of the ideas that we've had of how do we synergize, how do we serve the community in other ways, and look forward to having your beautiful presence in there with us. Yeah. Thank you for all you're doing with Unify. So just a couple more things before you go. We're just going to share about the retreat investment, just so you know what that is. And then we're going to have a piece of music from Theo to close us out, which is something they just released yesterday. So just stay on for just a couple of more minutes and we'll have that. So here we go. So investment, and I'm going to start by saying we're, during this retreat, investing in you and investing in our partners by offering that if you join the retreat, that you get a year's membership in the Islands of Coherence Network, because we do want this to be a playground, an experimental place for us to say what happens when we come together outside of the distraction and really focus on what's important to us in cultivating coherence in our lives. And really supporting our partners. We have so many partners that have islands in the Islands of Coherence, and there's some great content and information in there. So after the retreat, we imagine that you're going to want to stick around in here and stay connected to people. So we're investing in our partners and in you by saying, come into the retreat and we'll give you a year's membership. And we're going to invest our time and energy into creating the most beautiful container for this journey together. And that's our investment in ourselves and in you. And so invest in being your best. That's what we get to do now. And the retreat fee for the 3 months is $333. And as I said, that includes the 1 year's membership in the retreat. And if you're an existing member, there's a second link that Kati J put in the chat. If you're an existing member, you actually get a discount on the fees and a thank you from us for being an early member of the Islands of Coherence. Before, there was a lot there to hold your attention and your presence, and your presence in there actually made what's happening right now possible. So a big thank you to you. And I think it's really important that we realize that we're fueling the future with the choices we make with our money and our energy and our time, and above all, our love. And so that's really the invitation here, is to contribute to you being your best. We're also offering partial scholarships. No one is going to be turned away. Don't make the fee be a barrier, but also it's important that if we can all contribute a little bit, that we can have places like this where we can go deeper. And the last thing is that whoever invited you, Unify invited you, or Gary's organization, or Jude's, a portion of your retreat fee goes to support the good works of that organization that invited you. This torus flow, right? If we can move the energy around to all of the good works that are happening, we are going to have so much more to support us as a community. And that little bit of investing in yourself and the whole of life ripples out and makes a huge difference. So we really invite you to join us on this virtual retreat. And as I said, even if you don't, we hope that you've been inspired to make a commitment to cultivating greater coherence in your life and joining together with other people doing the same, so that we can really, as Jude said, lift up and lighten up and create the future that we choose. So thank you for listening to all that and learning something about our retreat. And I hope that you will come and play. And to close us off, I want to bring in Theo again. He can share something about this song, and that will take us out. And then we'll stay on. The cohort will stay on after that song. For anybody that has questions they want to ask about the retreat or anything like that, we'll be here for you. So, that was fun, huh, Theo?
Yeah. So much fun. Oh my gosh. I love what you're offering. This is beautiful. So glad to be a part of it. So this song actually came out of an online gathering like this. And I was led down a rabbit hole by hearing about another artist, and his name is Justin Michael Williams, and he's the beautiful singer and songwriter on this song. And I just reached out and I was like, can I remix this? And he said, yeah. And we didn't even know each other, and I remixed it and I sent it to him, and I didn't even know if he was going to like it. And then he loved it. And now we're doing 3 other songs together. He just came and spent the week with me here at our place in the studio. And it blossomed into this amazing creative collaboration, so nourishing and enriching for both of us. So just sort of a testament to like following our hearts' like desires and longings and never knowing where that can lead us. But you're going to get to hear one of the fruits of our collaboration, and it's the first of many to come. So, and if you want, you can dance. It's a pretty upbeat, dancey song. He's going to be releasing a music video actually of people recording themselves dancing to this on their phone, because it's it's kind of like an ecstatic dance anthem, as you'll hear. It's just a beautiful affirmation that we all say to ourselves and should say to ourselves more often. So here it is, and I hope you love it, and I hope it makes you move.
Thank you, Theo. I'm so excited. And you guys just premiered this yesterday, right? So we're part of it. So let's, as this song is playing, let's just feel it moving out into the world and having the kind of impact it's meant to have. And I'm going to put us on gallery view so we can all be dancing with you. So Kaylin, you can go ahead and play that piece.
Don't cry, you've been in pain enough. Little girl, don't fight, you're finally safe enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you don't need to hide behind the sky. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. Yes, I am enough. I am golden, baby. Golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. Ooh, oh, enough. Little boy, don't hide. You've been ashamed enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough.
This is your moment, baby. This is your time. Don't hold back anymore. I'm ready for you to let go. I'm ready for you to stand up. If you're ready to stand up, if you're ready to say yes to your dream, if you're ready to say yes to what you were put on this earth to do, I want you to put your hands up and say, yeah, let's go.
I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. You are enough. You are golden, baby. You are enough. You are enough. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough.
That's so good. Thank you, Theo. Would you put in the chat too the link if somebody wants to listen to that again? Yeah, and give Justin our love. Thank you so much. All right, thank you everyone for joining us and staying on a little bit longer. As we said, we'll stay here afterwards. If you have some questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll answer them for you. Otherwise, have a beautiful day. Tammy, thank you again for being here. And Gary, love you all so much. Julie, thank you so much. I can't wait. Good of the whole, Islands of Coherence for the good of the whole. Thank you. Blessings, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and stop the live stream. If you've been out watching on Facebook or YouTube or something, have a beautiful day.